before I competed, there was somebody that messaged me and they were like, oh, you have a torn pec, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh, you know you're never going to win like that, right?
Damn, throwing shade like that. The thing about those kind of people, and I hope some of you are watching, is most people will never amount to ish, ever.
I don't feel like, I just feel like they were trying to do good. Like, oh, you should go to the doctor. And I was like, oh, it's strained. The doctor said I don't need surgery. But yeah, you could tell it's slightly torn. Yeah. He was just like, oh, you're never going to win. And I remember that just hit me.
And that was before you won or after
that
you
was
won?
Nah, not after. After they don't say anything.
Yeah,
That's the messed up part.
Like, I got zero respect for people that try to tear other people down when they're trying to build something for themselves. It takes courage. Like we said, our voice is already negative. We're like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. And then there's people out there that are like, you know what? You suck. People are so quick to say the first negative thing, but 1 out of 10 of us will say a positive thing.
The comments were just mean. About my pec, like, oh, he thinks he's gonna win like that. That kid doesn't have what it takes. And I remember I took that to heart. Like, it really depressed me to the point that I told myself I'm never gonna do that again. I'm never gonna give them
satisfaction.
Mental. So I stopped. And plus, my coach has helped me a lot in that too. But then I remember I talked to coach and I was like feeling it, and he's like, listen, Dorian Yates had 2 torn biceps. He's a 6-time Mr. Olympia. Then he just started naming everybody that I look up to that had injuries. He's like, why? What's the difference between you? Why can't you make it? Don't let them psych you out. That's what they want.
Welcome, guys, to episode 8 of 31 Vision Podcast. For those of you that are new, our podcast is towards high school athletes, to help them to figure out career paths. So I bring entrepreneurs like Samir, or I'll bring college athletes, either current or former college athletes, so you can understand what's in your future and things you can do to avoid mistakes like I personally made, So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Samir Xhao. I am 29 years old. Born in Cuba, raised in Miami, Florida, and I'm currently a bodybuilder / personal trainer.
Nice. So, starting with high school, because we've known each other, but
Since
people don't know that, right? So, what high school did you go to? What
South
sports?
Miami Senior High, and we did football and track.
Right. South Miami, huh?
South Miami.
Where do we start? Where do we leave out?
What was it? 11 years already? We were getting old, man.
I know.
Jesus.
Like last episode or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about MySpace and things like that. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I actually went to my old MySpace.
What?
And I was like, oh, I can't believe I posted
It's cringy. It's cringy.
Very cringy.
Like,
I'm talking about like almost gang signs with my freaking football jersey. Like, it was bad.
So when did you start? So did you do sports first, or did you start working out when you started sports, or how did that?
I did football first, and then I actually think I started working out with you first. Remember, okay. I think after every football practice, what was it, 6? We would train till 7:30.
We were the only lone soldiers.
Yes, and then that's when I started working out. But I've always had like that love for working out. Like I remember in first grade, they used to tell me, "Oh, draw yourself how you see in 10 years," and I would always draw myself. Literally like big.
You're like, I'm gonna be yoked.
I have a picture when I was 2 years old posing in like little trunks in the beach. Yeah.
You were like, Dad, check out these muscles.
So I've always loved it, man. And wrestling, I was big on wrestling. So like physiques like The Rock, John Cena, those were my favorite. So in a way, I always saw myself big. I never saw myself skinny.
Yeah.
Even though, I think when I met you, I was 127.
Bro.
When I was 27 pounds.
Yeah, in high school, man, I graduated. Any of you that are worried about gaining weight, especially football players, there's a big worry with teenagers. Oh, I have to gain muscle. I have to get bigger. Guys, don't stress that too much, because you said how much did you weigh?
127 pounds.
Bro, when I graduated, I was like maybe 150 something. I was lucky if I was 160, bro.
And you were one of the hardest hitters too.
Yeah. Only because I had no regard for my body, not because I was big or anything.
Like,
but
I remember. It was you, Anthony.
Munchie,
Chang.
Yeah.
I remember once Chang laid me out. Oh man, I still feel that. If you're watching this, Chang, thank you, bro.
You woke him up. It
Chang. Was literally me, just like that. That was the first time I learned how intense football was. I remember I was just chilling and the play was going on, and Chang just came and wham. And then you told me, yo, you got to pay attention. You were just, what were you doing? The play wasn't over.
Yeah. When it's live, it's live.
And then I was like, aren't you guys my friends? Like, what are you doing? But
something I will say, I'm glad you talked about that. Something that I've talked about with my young football players is practice habits, right? So you only play a game once a week with football. With soccer and basketball is different. You can play more often. But even in other sports, your practice habits, guys, are huge. So like Samir was just saying, like, he'll come in lollygagging, not because he was slacking, he just didn't know better. But
I call that slacking. There's no excuse for that. That was slacking. That was straight up slacking.
And if you demand more of your teammates during practice, it will bring better results for the games. But if you allow your teammates to slack, then that brings the intensity level of the practice down. And I think with the younger generation, they're kind of losing sight of good habits, practicing, working hard, like your craft. You know, they just want to be gamers, and that's
But I feel also the coaches should talk to them about that before they start. I feel because
setting the bar.
Yeah, everyone just wants to come in, get the pads, and let's go hit.
Right.
And it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's the teamwork, the weight room. It was that summer before we got into that field that we were just in the weight room. Before we had pads, it was just running the drills. You have to execute everything 100%. You can't just expect to be great.
And guys, like, a lot of you are wondering, like, oh, why did I get injured when the season started? Or what was your off season like? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you're an athlete, how was your off season? Were you grinding? Were you hitting the gym? Were you working on your craft on the field or in the court? What were you doing? And if you get injured, not always, there's freak injuries, but if you get injured because the workload of your sport overwhelmed your body, you were not well prepared. And that is all comes from your work habits and how prepared you were in the off season. So if you're slacking in the off season and you got injured during the season, you should reflect and think about your habits, you know? So definitely the intensity of the practice, how we approach,
and always looking to get better. Asking the coach, hey, what do you think I could work on?
Not thinking that you don't need to get better. That's big.
That's big. Even on bodybuilding too. I remember even after every show, win or lose, I always go to the judges, hey, what do you think I need to work on? Because you could always get better.
The willingness to learn, man.
The biggest lesson I learned that I think led me to win was I stopped looking at the competition and I would look at pictures of myself and be like, okay, what can I do to beat that guy? How can I come better next year to beat this guy? Once I focus on me.
Yeah, looking internally.
This year was the first year I did not look at any of the competition. I muted everybody. Everybody that I knew that was my friend or that would bodybuild, I would mute them. News, bodybuilding news, I would mute everything and just focus on me.
You muted the outside noise.
Yes.
Which that can be hard to do, bro, because everything on our phones is like snap of a finger. If you want to go down a rabbit hole, your phone's there for you.
But I've seen so many athletes look great and a week, 2 days before competing, see another athlete and get so psyched out that at that moment you could see how they lost before they even stepped on stage. And it's happened to me. And I was like, this year, I cannot do that.
Yeah. So how would you say you adjusted your mental approach to the game? Because obviously I know you work extremely hard. Like we're friends for years. So would you like what did you do differently to change your mental approach? I
feel like going to Pro Body Tech, working with Sam, my coach, his mental approach, the way he sat me down. And I remember I sat in his office just with him and he drilled me. He grabbed pictures of me and he was like, you look good, but I think we could work on boom, 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 boom. He just let me have it. It was rough.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I agree. And then it was that mental, how he was like, leave your ego out the door. Here, there's no ego lifting. You're going to lift the right way till failure. Forget about weight with me. And it's just that push. And every time I would go to the gym, how bad I would feel in the floor, a mess. And he was like, one of the things he told me was work so hard this year that if you don't get first, you know it was never on you. You gave everything you had.
Yeah. And
that was just the mentality I had. And I think he helped me push beyond that. And also too, the never quitting. Like I competed for 6 years straight and didn't get first. And I just kept going because I love what I do. Even when I got 6th, 5th, 4th, I still loved it. I loved the experience. I loved eating properly. I loved the changes my body made until...
Your why matters, man. Like your why, regardless of like your career path or sport you play, you know, whatever you do, your why is so important. So that like you just said right there, if you were only in it for like clout or your ego, you would have been quit.
Yeah, no. And a lot of people do that and then they get success and they last, but they die down. I've seen a lot of people start that were great when I first started and now they're nowhere to be found anymore. Or if they are, like they already got beat.
Something I will say that I can relate back to sports as well. It's definitely a challenge. A lot of coaches don't talk about this. It's definitely a challenge to mentally lock in week after week after week when your body is like, I don't want to do this right now. But mentally, you got to get to a place where you're like, this has to be done.
Funny you say that because that's lately what I've been struggling with. After a show, your body just feels drained. I took no breaks. I kept going right back. And that's how yesterday on leg day, that's how I felt. I really just did not want to be there. But it's just that I need to be there. I need to keep working. It has to become a habit. And usually I've learned the days you don't want to be there are the days you perform the best.
Those are the most rewarding days.
I don't know why. It's always like that.
Because I feel like you go in with the mentality of, all right, I'm just going to do enough to walk through the door and get a sweat in. But then you're like, I'm already here. What do you mean? What do you mean do the minimum? I'm not going to do the minimum. And then you go crazy and you're like, man, I did not want to do this today. And look, I feel great. I'm tired, but I feel great.
You also have to look at it as a job. For example, like if you're having a bad day, if you get into a fight with somebody and things are just not going your way, you got to learn to like disconnect and put that outside. It cannot affect your performance at a high level.
In previous episodes, I've spoken about compartmentalizing, and that is a skill. Whether, like you just said, whether you're an entrepreneur or an athlete, that has to be something that you're good at because we all have lives. We all have problems with different people, with our family members, whatever the case may be. And if you can't, if one area of your life is going to bleed into other areas of your life.
Yeah, it's not.
Like, that's not realistic, man. Like, we have 24 hours in the day, but if one bad moment ruins your whole day, you lost 24 hours.
No, and it's like you and me too. Like, we work with clients, right? So you can't
people business.
Yeah, you can't put your problems on the poor client that's just there to train. You can't.
What if that person's having a great day?
Yeah,
and you're like, what do you want to do? You want to work out?
Or it's that first encounter he ever has with you or she ever has with you.
First impressions are big. Yep.
You ruin it.
Yep.
So you're not going to get them again.
And well, the funny thing is, like, you could have just been having that bad day, but if they don't catch the charismatic, energetic Samir, they're like, oh, this guy sucks.
It's like, in a way, we have the job of a clown. We got to always be like, you know, you can't come in and be like, hey, what's up, man? I don't, you know. Give me 3 more. All right. That's it.
In the business of people, doesn't matter what service industry you're in, because at the end of the day, trainers we're providing a service. You know, we might not work in a restaurant, but it's still a service industry in my mind. If you don't come with a certain energy, that's what they're paying you for. Some, correct me if I'm wrong, some clients know how to work out. They're only there for motivational purposes only.
For real. And I don't know if it's ever happened to you. Some sessions, you don't even train the client. They're just having a really bad day. And just that mental talk you have with them about whatever they're going through helps them get through the day.
We're low-key therapists. Like
I tell everybody, I'm a non-licensed therapist sometimes. And sometimes they're my therapist too. Like, funny enough. Because your clients spend so much time with you, they know when something's wrong. That they're like, hey, are you okay?
Someone, I can't even remember who it was, years ago told me, you need to choose your career carefully because
that's true.
You're going to spend more time with your coworkers than your family.
That's true.
I was like blown away. It's very hard to shut me up.
Yeah. I know.
They shut me up. I was like, oh my, I was like, that is so true. And then like we spend time with our clients and we vent with each other. We help solve each other's problems. Like, that's a friendship. That's not even a client anymore, you know?
The most loyal clients become your friends at the end of the day.
I saw a post just yesterday. This chick she was a barber, and she goes, guys, listen to this. Your friends and family will be your first clients.
That's true.
But eventually they will be the first ones to leave. And then strangers will be the clients that are going to be the foundation of your business. And they are going to turn into your friends and family. And that hit home for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Because how many years have you been a trainer now?
I think since I was 23, now I'm 29. So that's 24, 25, 26, 29, 6 years. Yeah, I'm horrible, man.
I'm also at 6 years too in January. And
yeah, I think we both started at around the same time.
And that hit home for me, man, because it's true. Like, the people around you, for whatever reason, like, people don't believe in you until you're already set.
Yeah. Until
you've already succeeded. And then people want to start believing in you. But where were you when I was building this up? Like, this is year 6. And I'm blessed enough to say that I didn't have to, because in the beginning of my business, guys, for any of you that are new entrepreneurs, I didn't always make ends meet financially with sicko training. Like, I had to work 2 other part-time jobs to make ends meet.
I was in security at Miami Children's.
I remember
12 hours shifts.
Yeah. And you would tell me like, damn, Lou, like this is for the birds, bro. I don't want to do this. But we both understood that that's what we had to do in that time in order for our side hustle, which is now our main hustle, you know, to flourish.
And I miss those times too. Like,
a lot of people aren't willing to put in that work though. They want to quit their day job and be like, all right, my business now is gonna. That's not how it works.
Quit. A lot of people are not supportive. Like, for example, that's something I learned when I started this. like me and you are kind of around the same career,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when did you ever see me like try to, oh no, like I always try to promote you, you know, you
Same.
promoted me.
Yeah.
You would, your gear, I would like buy them because I'm not with that. I feel like if you grow, I grow.
And bro, you're touching on a great topic. So Miami, right?
Oh,
Miami's huge.
Miami's number one in that though.
Miami's huge. There are a million effing trainers, right? And I'm sure you feel the same way. You can't take my clients. You can if you can try, but I'm not worried about someone taking my clients. I'm not worried about somebody, and you're not worried about that either.
And I don't go around other guys' clients and hey, here's my card. I hate that.
But it's not even about that. It's like if someone comes to me and they had a previous trainer and you want to come to me, all right, cool, whatever. But poaching people, like I don't need to tear you down for me to succeed. I'm going to succeed regardless.
Your work speaks by itself.
Yeah, and you're going to succeed regardless because of the work we put in, not because of poaching people. I don't need to tear you down for me to succeed. I'm going to succeed regardless. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people lose that. Like working with is better than just being by myself. Like I'd rather promote you, and maybe someone that wants to be a bodybuilder sees my post and like, oh man, Samir's a perfect person. Or you repost somebody and you're like, hey,
no,
or
I'm training a kid that wants to be soccer now that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell him, I know the guy for you. Look.
Exactly. And that mutually beneficial relationship, collaborating works better. And you don't shut down the doors,
because when you shut everybody down, believe it or not, people don't like you. Even if in front of you they say, "Oh yeah," and they talk smack about somebody else's work, they go to that person, and then they tell them too.
Yeah, man, I don't believe in burning bridges, bro. Like you have to really disrespect me for me to burn a bridge. But
it's hard it's kind of hard to get you angry though.
Nowadays, yeah. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, a little different. But yeah, man, it's all about if your mindset is on building relationships and you know what your end goal is, everything will kind of work itself out. But if you're trying to tear other people down, that's not the way to go.
But majority want to see you fail.
That's a whole other topic too. People do want to see you fail. They won't say it out loud, which is why they ride the wave once you succeed. Right?
Yeah.
But then only like a small percentage of people will support you when you're trying to build, which is like us mutually. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't benefit anything from reposting each other's stuff and, you know, like congratulating each other. And no, we just genuinely want to see each other succeed.
Seeing you grow makes me like happy. You're my friend for years, man.
Why would I? Like you said, a lot of people genuinely do not want to see you succeed because they see you doing something that they can't see for themselves. So they're like, oh, if I can't do it, they can't do it. No.
But you don't think maybe that's how they were raised?
I think the culture with immigrant parents, their goal is graduate high school, get that diploma, go to college, because they weren't able to do that. So I feel like the goals that some parents have for their, like, it's because a lot of us are first generation American citizens.
Yeah.
So what we see for ourselves, like venturing off to our own route, might not be what our parents see for us. Like, oh, get your education, become a doctor. Like, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't like blood. You know, like what, you know, but
that's the main thing I always respected about my parents. Like my dad always once told me, I was like, what, 16? He was like, I don't care what you do. You could be a garbage. You could want to be a garbage man or own a garbage company. Just be 100% in it.
That's great advice.
And I was like, oh, okay. So it took the pressure off as growing up, as I got to get a doctor. I got to be a nurse like my mom. I was like, my dad, he told me at 18, do you want to do hair? Because he's a hairstylist.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. He's like, okay, go find your wife.
Hard pass, Dad.
And when I told him bodybuilding, at first they didn't understand it because it was weird to them. Like, you want to pose on your Speedos in front of people? Like, yeah. And then when they started seeing that I loved it, how passionate I was, that's when they started believing.
I think, I mean, yeah, as a parent, you see a kid passionate about something, that's good. But I think they saw the benefits around it, how it complemented your life.
Yes.
I'm not a parent yet, but I think that's what they saw. Because you can be passionate about something that's bad for you.
True.
You know, but they saw how much that complemented your life. And they're like, man, he's more organized. He's working harder. Like, why not believe in this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not going out as much. He's focused on his goal.
So look, this is a perfect segue. So how do you feel like bodybuilding has positively affected your everyday life as a trainer in general?
It's taught me discipline. It's taught me to get sacrifice comes with winning, with getting what I want. So even if I'm going through a stage of my life where I feel like things are not going well for me, I know I'm gonna park past that dark time if I just put in the work. You know, it taught me that no matter what anyone says, as long as you believe in yourself, you can get anything accomplished. So
that's
for example,
easier said than done.
And it's taught me, believe it or not, that I need balance in my life because I can't sacrifice family over bodybuilding, you know, because at the end, there's always going to be the shows there But look, my grandpa passed this year.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry
know?
to hear that.
And my mom kept telling me, hey, you need to go to Cuba. And what did I say? Oh, I'm competing next year. Next year didn't come.
You kept putting it off.
Yeah. So that itself taught me, like, man, even though I thought my life was organized, it's still not organized. Like my mom told me that it's true. Sometimes you come in and out of the house and you're so in a rush that you got your next client, that you got to get your meal in, that you leave and you don't tell us anything. We don't even know that you just left. And that hit me because I was like, man, I'm not as organized as I thought. So bodybuilding in a way teaches me that I always need to work on myself, even when I think, okay, I'm good. No, you could work on something else.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's a perfect segue because Andy in episode 2 spoke about when you start a business, he's in the healthcare business.
Oh, okay.
And Andy spoke about
the healthcare is crazy too.
No.
That's tough.
That's a whole other,
that's a tough one.
But when your business, so you start your business, you're here, level 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you progress through the business, if you continue to grow, the business will demand different things from you. And if you keep addressing those things and applying those things to the business, you're going to continue to grow. Yeah. But if you ignore those signs, you're going to keep failing at the same thing and you're going to get stagnant and you're going to hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're realizing is like, if I get a little more organized, I can do this a little bit better.
There's always room for improvement. You could always be better. There's no such thing as, okay, that's it. There's nothing I need to work on. Yeah. If you get like that, you will fail.
And that's another thing.
Because everything is evolving. Coaching is evolving. Yeah. Sports is evolving. Yeah. How basketball was played 10 years ago is not how it's played now.
What I love about, because we're a great age. Why? Because we have witnessed the progression of technology.
I'm about to hit 30. Don't tell me.
So a lot of myths have been busted about the body in the past 5 to 10 years. So we need to educate. We're not doctors, but the body is our business. Knowing the body is beneficial for us to train our clients better. Yeah. And a lot of myths are being busted.
Especially us that we've gone through injuries too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%.
Because once you go through them, that's when you know.
So going back to high school, right? So we played football together. We ran track. Together. From there, was it until you graduated high school that you knew you wanted to do bodybuilding, or was it in college?
Like, I knew I wanted to do bodybuilding in the 12th grade, but it was something I saw so far from me that I was like,
it's okay. Like later in the
future. That I was like, look, you know what? I'm just going to start training and see how my body goes. And then when I see myself big, like in the magazines, I'll bodybuild. But then, like, it was my dad that told me, you're never going to be ready in your head. So you just do it. What are you waiting for? And I was like, okay. And I competed my first year and I got like 6th, 7th place. I weighed like 170. Yeah. But I remember I had such a blast backstage. That was the best time of my life at that time. I had such a blast. And like the biggest bodybuilders are the nicest ones. And everyone was just like, nice. Hey kid, you got a good frame. Keep going. Nice. And then from there on, it just kept going and just kept going and kept going. And then till this year.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. So college. So what did you study in college?
I studied TV and radio production.
Okay, it's funny that we're here. We're doing this.
That's why I had like a nerd talk for like an hour with Jason over here about mics and stuff.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Definitely Chinese to me, but you guys were definitely chatting it up.
4 years, I think that was my career, and I loved it. But as I was in college, I started personal training, and then I just fell in love with it. Yeah. But I knew that personal training and fitness was the route I was going to take. But I was so close to finishing TV and radio production, which I still love, that I was like, I'm going to finish it because you can still implement that like YouTube, social media.
Oh, 1000%.
So I was like, okay, one combines with the other, which I've been slacking on that and I need to improve that because I'm just still so new to this. Yeah. Whole like now I started doing reels and one of them blew up to 160K with my coach. Nice. And it's just the algorithm and it's just things to learn.
Keeping up with it.
It's just so crazy. I didn't think it was that complicated.
Yeah. No.
It is a job. Like
I talk to Jason all the time and he's always teaching me like different things about how TikTok relates to IG and how everyone's kind of going after TikTok's algorithm. And bro, it's a whole science.
Reels, when I go to edit a reel, Jason, it's so complicated to me. Like I literally take an hour for a 15-second reel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like you guys were saying, it is an actual job. You know what I mean? And it's tough, because people see the 30 seconds.
People think it's just 20 seconds, but it's really not.
Took forever to put it together and then to edit it down to that. And also, you also have, no, you don't have to. We're already recording to the computer.
Okay. You're good. Sorry.
We also have the other thing where you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Like you've done all the editing and everything.
We've all been there.
And it's like, man, is it really good? Bro, it's crazy. My biggest my biggest, I had last month I had a video on TikTok hit 1,000,001.
No way.
And I almost don't even post that video.
You didn't think much of it yourself.
I was like, all right, whatever.
What was the video?
No, so it's a complete different niche. It's a Spanish thing, and I talk about like church stuff. It's a complete different.
And it was the least video you thought it was.
I wasn't, because I was talking about music and like effects like the music has on people, and I got all. So
it relates to people,
bro. Yeah, I don't know. So anyhow, I have 1,000 things going on in my head right now. So but for some reason, that was the video that people were reacting to, and it's wild because there's thousands of comments in it, and they have threads. No. And they're fighting and they're arguing like the post has a life of its own now. Like I know I made it right, but I feel like almost like I have nothing. Almost like it's not even mine anymore. Yeah, because they're in
comments. It's
they're in there fighting, bro. They're in there talking, and they're like.
Was it overwhelming in the beginning? Because it's new.
So it was. I had other posts because I like before that one. So really, it's done more than that because I posted that and it hit 400,000 the first time I posted it. Then the second time I posted it hit 1,000,001. So it's like 1.5 million now, or like combined. But then
it's just 1.5 million.
Yeah, it's just but that's not normal for me. Like my posts don't do that well. But I've had other posts to hit like 100K, 200K, whatever. Most of my posts don't do that. Most of them they'll do 1,000, 2,000. Like that's the average number. I post a lot, like 3 times a day. So but yeah, when it was first happening, it was wild because I had to like quiet my phone's notifications because it was like the notifications were going.
You're getting lit up.
Nuts, yeah, crazy. Yeah. So the one thing I'll tell you, and I'll done with the hijacking that I've done.
You're good.
The one thing that I will tell you is, I learned big time from 2 people, from Gary Vee and Joe Rogan about the comments, and it's don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, you can't.
Do not pay attention to them, but you can't pay attention to the good ones or the bad ones. It's not just the bad ones.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when you pay attention to the good ones, now you've automatically paid attention to the bad ones.
True.
Because you can't separate it. So if you don't pay attention to any of it, then any of it won't affect you. But once you start paying attention to the good ones, even though you say you're not going to read the bad ones, it's already in there, you know? So that's the one thing. So like, I look at the comments like for engagement purposes, but I don't like, I'll go in there and I'll reply a few times, especially
for engagement. You have
for the first few ones. After that, I'm out of there. Like this thing here, I know there's threats and stuff just because I see but I do not mess with it. I do not engage with it. And something that has really helped me, I share my views and I share what I do, but I've also done what you guys are talking about, that I see it as a job.
Yeah.
So I've learned how to kind of disassociate or separate myself from that guy. Like there's a person that's got a video there and like I
never thought of it like
bro,
that.
Me neither. Yeah.
I'm very private. So for me, social media is a challenge. I'm a very private person. I don't like I've been like that since I was a kid. I never liked people knowing where I was, like what was hanging out.
Oversharing or anything. Yeah.
I never liked that, you know?
Yeah.
So believe it or not, I share a lot on social media, but I also don't share a lot. So that means I'll talk a lot about a subject, but there's a lot of things that it's just for me and my friends. Like there's a lot of stuff that I don't share.
Yeah.
But like I do a lot of videos. Like, so you see the videos and you think I'm like, someone can see that. It's like, yo, you're putting all your life out there. No, you don't have to. You can choose what you're going to do. You guys are trainers. You can choose what you're going to share, and then you can choose. It's very healthy.
A lot of kids don't understand that. Yeah. A lot of kids don't understand that life is like in a phone, like a social media page is through a filter. The person decides what to share and what not to share. So a lot of these kids don't understand that that's not real life.
That's one of the reasons why I didn't like look at any of my competition, because you always post your best picture. So they're going to look amazing in all pictures.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You get me? Yeah. And one thing I always separate is, like you said, social media to me is just not real. It's like a dream, right? Yeah. Because you could take it personal. Like, for example, I'm not going to say who it was, but before I competed, there was somebody that messaged me and they were like, oh, you have a torn pec, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh, you know, you're never going to win like that, right?
Damn, throwing
I know,
shade like that.
I don't feel like I just feel like they were trying to do good. Like, oh, you should go to the doctor, and I was like, oh, it's strained. The doctor said I don't need surgery, but yeah, you could tell it's slightly torn. Yeah, he was just like, oh, you're never gonna win, and I remember that just hit me.
And that was before you won or after?
That
you
was
won?
Before. Nah, not after. After they don't say anything. That's the messed up part. But then I remember I talked to Coach, and I was like feeling it, and he's like, listen, Dorian Yates had 2 torn biceps. He's a 6-time Mr. Olympia. Then he just started naming everybody that I look up to that had injuries. He's like, "Why? What's the difference between you? Why can't you make it? Don't let them psych you out. That's what they want."
This is a perfect segue. So,
thank you, Jason. You just opened the perfect segue.
Yeah. So on IG, because you have a large following,
thank you.
How do you deal with negative? Besides that one message, like how do you deal with negativity? Do you just ignore it? Do you have a system in place?
I just don't respond anymore.
You just fly above it?
I just don't respond because I remember that when I first torn my pec, I was so self-conscious about it. And then one of my second shows, they posted like some guy, I forgot, he was like big in YouTube, and then he competed that day too. And I was like posing right next to him, and the comments were just mean about my pec. Like, oh, he thinks he's going to win like that. That kid doesn't have what it takes. And I remember I took that to heart. Like it really depressed me to the point that I told myself, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to give them
satisfaction.
Mental, so I stopped. And plus my coach has helped me a lot in that too.
The thing about those kind of people, and I hope some of you are watching, is those people will never amount to ish ever. Because
social media could be really mean.
It's very, because look, most of those people will never amount to anything because all they do is watch other people's lives.
True.
So instead of you going for something yourself, you're so scared of failure that you shit on people that are trying to do something with their lives.
And if you
know
want to, like for example, I felt that guy that messaged me about my chest, he wasn't trying to be evil with it because he was in the sport.
I don't want to hear
but it's the way you let people,
there's a way better to say that.
Yeah.
I do think something, and I want to share that with you guys, is a lot of times people project to you the things that they've gone through. So this happens a lot, right? So maybe let's just theoretically, maybe the guy is a bodybuilder, right?
He is. No, and a successful one. He's a professional.
So
too.
look, so this is what happens to people, right? And I'm not saying it's this guy because I don't want him to think I don't even know the guy.
Right.
But this happens to people. The person lost because they lost. They didn't lose because of their pec. They lose but that's what they put it on to justify that they lost.
Okay, I see where you're going.
That's what they put it on. So they never accepted their loss, and they project their loss on you.
Okay.
Because they never accepted it. Once, you know what I mean? And the opposite is the same about your coach. When he was telling you, that's not the reason. Like, you could see he was clear with it. That's not the reason.
He saw how it affected me. Because, come on, everybody's self-conscious about something.
Yeah, everybody has
I'm open about it. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I just wanted to interject there because it's easy to think that people are projecting negative stuff because they wish you ill. And a lot of times they don't even know it. Look, I'm saying that because I've been there. Not on the comments, right?
Yeah, of course.
Not on the comments. I'm not negative with the comments. But I've been there like at work.
Usually.
No, I've done it. I've done negative comments. You know?
I love how he said it. He's like, usually.
Yeah, I've done negative comments. But I've done it at work. Okay. You know what I mean? Where I caught myself. I had like a few years back, I had a supervisor that I did not like. And he was, this particular guy was the type of person that would do something to you. And like, like a task, right? Like you go do a task, you go inspect the machine or whatever, and the machine is defective. You report it, you write down, you report it, you tell them, hey, the machine, okay, it's defective, no problem, we're going to get to it. Hours later or the next day, his supervisor walks around it, sees the defective machine, and this guy will go, "Wow, what? I never heard about that."
Sounds like bull.
One of those people. But so then if you happen to make the mistake to snap on him, you'd be like, "Wow, what's going on with him?"
Yeah, he victimized himself.
Yeah, he must be having a rough day, man. It's like,
so you're missing the point.
It's like you screw people over, and when they get mad about it, you're like, man, this guy's probably in his house, his family's probably, I don't know what happened. Like, you know,
must be having some personal
so
issues.
what? But this is what I realized. So I became very aggressive towards him.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Whatever,
Start
Like
pressing
without
him.
you doing,
bro.
right.
Whatever he would
Yeah.
say,
It would irritate you.
no, like off rip, like whatever he would come and ask, I'll respond in a very negative and very aggressive way, and very, and like people would see that it's like, yo, what, you know,
Are you okay?
Like, why the hostility? Yeah.
why are you so hostile towards him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what happened to me was I started going to a few years ago, started going to jiu-jitsu, and I was doing jiu-jitsu, and I thought,
I thought
like-
he was gonna say laid him out or something.
no, of course
Same
not.
kick. Drop it.
Crazy, no. But I thought when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I thought that you go in like, and then you know what you're gonna do. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna arm bar, and it's like, no, you don't know. You do what the opportunity gives you to do.
Mm.
You don't know what you're exactly gonna do. It's like the opportunity opens up, and that's what you do with it. You
Right.
train how to do a move. And by the way, if anybody's watching this, I'm not very advanced, so I don't want you guys to think I'm a killer or nothing like that. But like you're grappling, the opportunity opens up, and
Take it.
because you're trained in doing a move, the arm, the neck, whatever opened up, and now you do it. Not because, unless you're somebody like Gordon Ryan or like somebody that can see 100 steps ahead of the next
And then
person.
influence you and
That's a
manipulate
different.
you.
Okay, well, that's a different.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's gonna be okay. This thing opened up, and that's what I'm gonna. And so the guy's like, at work, he was like, you gotta apply this at work. A lot of you guys are probably trying to force positions at work. Don't force it. Work. And I was like, man, like, bro, like
You had an
literally.
epiphany, yeah.
And you know what I started? I started doing the same thing to him.
Mm.
So I would go to work, and I'd be like he'd mention something, right? I'm like, okay, like, Jason, you know what? You did mention that, huh? It's like, oh yeah, okay. Like
started throwing it back
the
at him.
same
The same.
thing.
The same.
The same
How did he
thing.
react to that?
He stopped.
He probably didn't know. He didn't know what to do.
He stopped. He was like, he stopped because no more reaction. So, and I realized I'm not saying the guy was trying to do it. It's just his way of working. So people like that, you're giving them the reaction. They're gonna keep coming back.
That's true.
And like I realized I stopped giving them the reaction, and it's like, okay,
No more satisfaction. Yeah.
I don't see it like that.
You think he was doing like inadvertently?
No, yeah, I do. Like the guy's not. He's not evil, bro.
Yeah.
He's just a person that does things out. Like people get into these characters at work and do things. You know what I mean? So and maybe he doesn't even like that's his way of being, bro. Like, you know, he's nasty, but if you're nasty, you don't I don't know if it's not like he was planning to be nasty. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's just his way of being.
He's a nasty guy, whatever. You know what I mean?
Jason's nicer than I am. I would have said a whole different thing.
Nah, dude, it's just trying to be real with it, man. But just and people, it helps you, bro, to realize a lot of times it's just their system. The guy's putting the comment. He's probably got a cheeseburger all over his chest right now. You know what I mean? With a soda over here. Oh, bro,
you need to get bigger.
You don't even have. You don't even
a torn chest.
You don't even have an 8-pack. You know what I mean? And then you're reading it, and because you're in the gym, because you're putting the work, you think that the person commenting is just like you.
Yeah.
It's
one of the true stories that you said of how you deal with it. I remember one day some guy, I forgot what he wrote on my comments. It was like some nasty, hurtful thing. And I remember I DM'd him. I got mad. I was at work at the hospital at that time. And I was like, hey, like, it was nasty. I wasn't proud of it. Like, F you, man. What you think of life? You know, coming at me like that. How dare you? And that guy responded in a way that he's like, oh, man, sorry. I'm just used to doing this on social media. I didn't think you would actually read it. But honestly, man, I'm just going through a rough patch. I'm depressed. Like, I did this out of anger. Like, I didn't mean to offend you. And if I did, I'm sorry. I need to learn to change my ways. And that right there, I was like, wow, like people are probably that person that goes at you is probably going through something worse than you are.
Listen,
so
man,
it taught me to pull back. Cause then when he apologized, then I felt like the bad one. Cause I was like, I shouldn't have said those things. And then I ended up apologizing. And to this day, he follows me and I follow him. It's the funniest thing.
You know what
ever.
I got from that story? Sometimes you gotta check people. Not necessarily socially, not on social
you're
media,
right.
but like in person. Like if someone's like Jason found a way to maneuver with that guy that was pushing his buttons, whether he was doing it on purpose or not, whatever, I would have reacted differently. I'm more explosive like that. But you have to learn how to maneuver with people, how to deal with, and just because a person is throwing their they're trash on you, doesn't mean you have to take it.
True.
And if you don't say anything, guess what? They're going to keep doing it too. So understanding, not manipulate people, but how to find your lane and not let people walk all over you is a skill, I would say. Whether you work in a corporation or a company or whether you're your own boss, I think that level of respect needs to be there in any profession.
True. But also social media has something called block nowadays that
makes it easier.
Yeah, it solves a lot.
So going back to college, so what was your takeaway from it? You know, did you like it? Did you find it functional to life? Or
I found it functional for the purpose of me wanting to learn more about TV and radio production, but for life nowadays, not really. Like I've known so many successful people that didn't go to school.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things about life that school doesn't teach you. And it, you know,
the
and
system is set up
it all
that way.
depends the pathway you want to take in life, because a doctor has to go to school. A doctor can't be like, hey, I'm smart. All right, let me just read a book and I'm going to do this, you know?
Right.
But I felt for my course of life, I needed it, but not everybody needs it. Like, for example, if I have kids and they tell me, look, Dad, I don't want to go to college or university because I have this pathway and it makes sense for them, do it.
Yeah.
They'll be happy. Why are you going to force them to waste 4 years of their life? At the end, they're not going to use it. Because sometimes I look and I'm like, man, I did TV and radio production because I loved it. But maybe if I would have done something else, you know, through that time, put a more 100.
I'm a firm believer, man. Like in the future, you can definitely put your major to work and combine the two.
Right now, I could put my major to work. It's just what I'm learning to do more is to open up and take more risk. You know, not that I get comfortable, because
we all do.
Yeah, but I need to stop. I'm more comfortable because I'm like, man, what happens if I do it and I miss, you know? And I need to just learn, like, screw it. If I miss, I miss.
I think that's our natural instinct, man. Shooters got to shoot.
Yeah.
You can't shoot or shoot, bro. That's the best saying ever. It's so basic, but
it's like Michael Jordan commercial that he's like, I don't know how many shots and missed this and missed this many buzzer beaters. And then it's like, and he's done all this in the sport. It's the same thing about life.
The fear of something it'll grind you down, man. And then you'll start maybe not resenting yourself, but you'll get mad that you're not taking that initiative and doing it because you're scared of that thing. But most of the time, the thing you were scared of, once you do it, you're like, this is all I was scared about.
This year was a year that I feel like I've grown more as a person in all the other years, that I've learned about myself the most. And one thing I've learned is that just take the initiative. Even when it came to picking my bodybuilding show, my coach was like, you're going to do this show. And I was like, coach, but that show's kind of like big, you know? Are you crazy? He's like, so if you win, you want to win against the best. Why am I going to pick a show that only 2-3 people are going to go? No, we're going to go at the best shows, best high quality shows, and we're going to do them.
Play the best. Yeah.
And to me, I took the risk and it was rewarding, and that taught me more. Man, I need to let go. One thing about me, I will say, is I get complacent sometimes. I need to learn to just.
That's all of us.
I overthink things to an extent. That's my flaw. I'm open about it.
Yeah, that's all of us do.
So I just need to like let go of my thoughts and just do it.
Do you know what's the issue with that? And we've spoken about it a little bit in previous episodes. And unfortunately, as long as you're aware of it, it's okay. But that voice in your head is negative. If it's unknown, if it's the unknown, oh, this is not going to work.
Yeah,
this is not going to work. This is not going to work. But for whatever reason, we don't have the instinct of, oh, this can work. This is great. This is good. We have to convince ourselves, hey, this can work because of A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. But for whatever reason, our instinct is to go negative. So we gotta
and if you have the wrong people around you that tell you, oh yeah, you shouldn't, you won't do it.
You're gonna listen to it and not do it.
You won't do it.
And you'll stay stagnant. Oh, that's true, man.
Sometimes you have to just listen to what your heart says and just do it. And if you fail, it's okay.
Your mind will play tricks on you. Your heart says 100%. And then your mind's like, nah, simmer down. We're not gonna do anything.
2 weeks before my show, I remember I was doing card and I'm like, man, am I really ready? My mind was just eating me alive. All the way through the show until that moment happened. That it's a funny story. Like, I won the show and then I go backstage and my coach is right there. And I go like, coach, how did I do? He looks at me. He's like, what the hell? What do you mean? How you just did? You won the damn show. Like, what do you mean?
Sometimes we look for that. And like you said, it's the people around you. We look for that confirmation from other people. You don't need that, man. If you're self-assertive and you're confident,
that's another thing I stopped doing. I stopped posting like update pictures about myself because deep down, like subconsciously, even if you don't think about it, you want that. Hey, you look good. You know, you don't need that.
Yeah.
So I just focus on, it was just me, my coach, and that's it. What he thought. But I wouldn't look for that. Oh, you look good from someone else. It was just being my inner circle, you know? You don't need confirmation to know that you could do something. You're supposed to have that confirmation within.
And like you said, it's in our nature to look for that as human beings.
100%.
As human beings, like obviously it's better to hear something nice than to hear criticism. But in order for growth, criticism takes you further.
But think about it. Let's say when you were in college, right, playing football, that you were in a way, the crowd there is booing you when the game's on the line. So if you were to listen to the crowd, you're not going to do good. Think about it, because they're booing you. So that right there is something sports teaches you. Like, you can't listen to the outside noise, especially when you want something. Not everybody shares the same vision. You might tell me tomorrow, hey, I'm thinking about doing this with my business. And I'm like, Lou, I don't think that's the right way, because it's not in my vision, but that doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. So why are you going to go based off me? No, if you want to, and it's something healthy and you feel like you could do it, do it. You fail. Okay, it's okay. Find another way.
Look, something that I think it's hugely important is to always look to draw your whether it's your advice or criticism or from a real physical person and from a real physical activity. The reason I'm saying that is because just think about it. So you guys were talking about football, right? And like the mention you made about having the crowd boo you, right?
Yeah.
But this is different. The reason it's different is because the crowd is booing, but then your guys are there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're physically there. So then you hear the noise, but then you see your guy. And it's like, okay, whatever, I got to help him. You know what I mean? But what happens in social media is you only have the noise.
True.
So like, and we were talking about that the other day, like a lot of times people go to social media. We go to social media inadvertently or whatever to look for that satisfaction of approve, because we need to. It's a human animal thing to seek approval. Yeah, it's like
to be a part of the pack,
and it's okay. It's okay to seek for approval. The problem is where you're seeking it. So like your coach, you know, the guys that train with you, save it for that. Yeah, save it, and like you got to do it consciously, bro. Because what happens is, if you don't do it consciously, you're gonna do it regardless.
It'll run rapid.
You're gonna do it. So it's like, so to understand the purpose of, like, especially dealing with social media, what is the purpose? So if you're using it as a business, you know what I mean? And if you're using it to share a passion, whatever it is, keep it at that.
Yeah.
You're sharing. Don't worry about the reactions, because like I run advertisement on social media. So I have to worry about the reactions, but they're not mine. They're not for me.
Yeah.
I'm running it for, so I can be surgical with it. I do not care if the business that I'm running the advertisement for, like, it doesn't affect my feelings.
And usually that right there makes you perform even better.
Yeah.
I have to.
Staying objective is a skill. Yeah. Like taking your emotions out of a task or out of, a goal will take you further for sure, man.
But 100% seek your approval from a real physical human. Yeah, that right there, and the same as a conversation. You can, even if it's a conversation on the phone, right, bro? I found it to be so healthy for my life. Have conversations, even if you're texting, even if you're messaging with somebody that's gonna see you in a few hours or in a day. People will be different. If it's some dude
it's easy
that
to hide behind a phone,
and you don't think about it, you don't realize it. But if it's some dude you played football with 5 years ago or whatever, and he lives like in the other side of the country, the vibe is going to be different, even though they might love you and everything.
Yep.
But just the fact of you knowing that you have to come face to face with a person the next day keeps you way more responsible what you say on the little thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's facts.
That's why a lot of people are disrespectful on social media, because their train of thought is like, I'm never going to see this person. Who cares? But trust me, in person, they won't tell you.
Do you know why riots get so crazy?
Why?
Anonymity. If I'm by myself, bro, I break into a business, destroy the glass, like F you, man. Like, yo, this guy's nuts. But if I'm with a crowd of hundreds of people and I think that you don't know I'm in there, I'm going to act crazy. Wow. So anonymity, not being held accountable for your actions, is huge. So like you said, if you're seeing me in person, like, yo, I got to be careful what I say to Lou. I'm not gonna come at him crazy, but if you're a stranger on the phone, like, yo, F this guy, I'm gonna
Bro, do you remember?
But I still don't get the train of thought of somebody taking their time of the day to tell somebody that.
Do you remember school parties?
different mind space, bro.
School parties. I had friends,
Oh, Lou knows about it.
bro. I had friends that would go literally to school parties just for when a fight started to sucker punch somebody.
You're kidding.
I had friends that used to do that. That used to go like
Things pop off, yeah.
they're beefing with somebody like this guy, and it's a what a punani move, right? What he was saying. But I had at the beginning, we're full circle. But I knew guys, you know what I mean? We were kids, and I knew guys that they will beef with someone and they'll like hold it. And it's like the moment something crazy,
Boom.
and you're just looking at the thing,
Target acquired.
and they're out of there and they're gone. It's like, so social media is like that, bro. People are going around like just sucker punching people with the comments and with the thing. And it's
I got no respect. Going back to how we talked about trainers or anybody having a mutually beneficial relationship. I got zero respect for people that try to tear other people down when they're trying to build something for themselves. It takes courage. Like we said, our voice is already negative. We're like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. And then there's people out there that are like, you know what? You suck. Like, bro, it's just either stay quiet.
There's so many people battling so many things inside.
Yeah, I don't need your help to tear me down. I do that. I'm my own worst enemy already. So people are so quick to say the first negative thing, but 1 out of 10 of us will say a positive thing. Why? It's just the way we're wired. I don't understand. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel because usually it's that competition feel, but you don't need to tear down your competition. Competition makes you better.
Yeah.
I remember even when I was in high school, that's where I feel the growth happened. I was scared of competition. And now I embrace it. I like it. It's fun to me because I don't see it as, oh, my opponent. No, I just see it as somebody that is pushing towards the same thing I am, and the better one's going to win. That's it.
I've been playing sports my whole life since I was like about 5-6 years old. If I know I'm going to win, I don't want to play.
It
I don't
makes
want to
you
play.
motivated.
Like, what? I don't need my ego stroked, man. I need to know who the best people are, and I'm taking you down. Like, I need to know that I'm the best. So when I know I can win, that's weak, man. And that's the way our society is. Like, there's a whole other topic. There are parents that put their kids in certain leagues because they know that league is ass.
But they don't grow. Then when they get to the big leagues,
then when you play nationally recognized teams, you get smacked. Why? Because you're playing in some vanilla league. You're playing in something. But a lot of parents are trying to shield their kids that are athletes. Oh, no, here, Papi, you know, like, you're the best. If you're not the best, that person needs to know so they can work at it.
And sometimes getting smacked is the best thing you can happen to you.
Yeah. Like me nicely telling you, hey, Samir, this is not going to be enough. Or when you hit the field, someone ear holes you, bah, and you're like, okay, this team is for real. Like, that's going to wake you up more than, hey, Papi, you know,
so do you feel like it's the coach's job to like set them? How do you handle that? Because like, you know how parents are sometimes.
Into parental guidance.
I like it when, like, for example, I remember one time I was training and I was like, you know, when you're just off, and then my coach, he gave it to me. Like, hey, what are you doing?
Yep.
If you stop one more time, you're going home. You know, but some parents don't like that. I like that. You know, that if I have a kid and a coach is like, get your ass up and go do it, man. What are you doing? Get your hand in the game and boom, hits them in the helmet. But you know, you can like
but nowadays,
how do you handle that?
That's a great question.
Because sometimes I feel with my own clients,
you know,
like I'm a little rough, and then I feel bad after because, like, for example, the other day I was like normal waiting for one of my clients, you know, and she's awesome. She's a sweetheart, man. And she was like, I was like, go do your cardio first. She's like, man, I don't want to do cardio. And I was like, I don't even want to hear it. You told me that 3 days in a row. And then she looked like sad, you know?
Her out, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, man, maybe I'm being too rough, but I feel like that's good. Like, I do it because I care.
That's what she pays you for.
Yeah. But some people don't like that, though.
Listen, we live in going back to answer your question, that is why I'm never say never. Life has a funny way of, you know, showing you different. But that's why I will never be a coach for a school. Or
I feel like you'll make a great coach for a school.
But the thing about that is, Samir,
I think I
live in very sensitive times.
I honestly see you one time doing it.
We live in very sensitive times, and I don't want to answer to some guy that doesn't have the same ideology as me to mold the youth. These kids already have enough garbage to go through with their phones, their parents enabling them. Like, nobody checks them.
No.
Nobody checks them.
That's why when
I come along, like, yo, this guy's bad. No, I'm the only good one. Because I'm willing to have this battle with you. And parents, don't be sensitive when I say this. There's a lot of bad parents because they're willing to let their kids sit in front of a tablet and get fat and do nothing and not aspire to do anything.
I hate that.
And then when they become C's, you know, or they don't amount to anything, man, why does so-and-so, because you didn't do anything. You didn't demand anything of them. You didn't want to have that battle with them. Well, me as a coach, I'm going to have that battle with that kid every single day because I'm going to demand this. I'm not going to lower my bar to what you wanted to do so Timothy can be happy and content. His ego.
You just chose the whitest name ever.
Yeah, I know. So his ego gets stroked. You know what I mean? So these parents want their kids' egos to get stroked and they don't want any adversity at all.
But how about, like, for you, example, if you're ever going to be a coach for a high school, right? Why don't you sit the parents down before the season starts and tell them your ways? Wouldn't that help? Because they know what they get. They can't come up to you and tell you, hey, why are you talking to my kid like that?
But that's why I like being a private lead. Like, that's why I like doing my own thing because the parents... I tell the parents to never leave my session. Like, for example, stay there and watch our session.
I was just going to say that.
And they see me chew them out.
When I was with you for those 2 events we did, and I was helping you out, you talk to the parents, though. You tell them what it's about, and they trust you.
Camps are a little different because the camps, introducing 31 Visions to them for, you know, like our why and all that stuff. Okay. But me training somebody privately is different because you have certain needs as an athlete. You need to get better in this and that. Yeah,
you can't sugarcoat them.
No. And I refuse to. And that's why, since nobody has to check me on what I have to do, and I know I have my best intentions, I want that kid to be the best they can be. If I have to if someone has to oversee me and continually micromanage me, I don't want that. It's not about for example, perfect example. I went to South Miami to volunteer my time a little bit to coach the kids. And I was teaching these kids. That coach, I knew way more than that coach. That coach was garbage, right? The DB coach. I was teaching the kids certain things to do to make them better. And what would the coach do? Forget what he said, and you're going to do it like this. I left. In less than 2 weeks, I left. I was like, what am I here for? For you to unteach them what I'm teaching them when I'm teaching them the right thing? So that right there, he's above me, but I know more than you. I'm like, bro, I'm not doing this, bro. I'm not playing this game. I'm going to do it on my own. If you want to respect my accolades and my resume, then you do it. You come see me and we're going to do it my way. And that's why I'm independent for the most part. So to answer your question, I just do it my way. And that's why I handle parents like that. I tell parents to stay there. I don't like when parents drop the kids off and leave. I don't like that.
That's awesome though.
Because then later, what if the kid lies? You're going to believe your kid over the coach.
True.
But if you're there and you see what your kid did, you're like, my kid was wrong. My kid was wrong for that. But what's amazing is kids respond to energy just like adults do. And when they see I don't play games, kids don't play around with me on my sessions. Never. They're like, yo, Coach Lou don't play. Coach Lou does not play. And they know that, you know, and I demand that of them. And I think a lot of coaches are so worried about the parents' reactions that the kid is losing in that transaction. You know, forget about the parents' approval and get the kid to be the best they can be in a safe manner. Like, don't overdo it, obviously. But yeah, we live in a very sensitive time right now.
Trust me. Even comedians can't joke around with anything nowadays.
Don't get me started on that, bro. It's ridiculous. So we were talking about college. We talked about that already. Sorry. Do you feel like you were prepared educationally for college, going from South Miami to college? You smirked already. You smirked. Yeah. Honest answer.
No.
Neither was I.
But South Miami was great though. You know, but I feel it was
socially it was great.
Yeah, I feel like it was my fault because like my senior year, I didn't really pay attention to anything, man.
I didn't pay attention all 4 years.
I only paid attention with the teachers that made an impact on me. Mr. Sesson, Miss Tompkins, man. You know, teachers like that it was like you cared about.
Miss Galeri, you're the best.
Yeah.
Or to the late Branstetter, rest in peace. He was great too.
Branstetter was great. Calder, and I remember Calder.
I didn't have Calder.
Oh my God.
So what do you think? So me personally, I had to learn how to be a student my freshman year of college. I had a terrible GPA. And in my college route, I went from having like a 1 point something to like a 3 point something. But that took me having to check myself and do a lot of things. So what did you do to get from like being a bad student to a good student? Not necessarily bad, but just prepare yourself better.
I didn't go straight to college. I took a year. I was just working, just seeing how rough it was, you know?
Real life.
CVS, doing midnight shifts on A Street. Shifts. Man, that was crazy. Like A Street on CVS. Jesus, the people. Oh my God, so many transvestites that I would see in the night. Like, I'm not even kidding, dude. It was crazy. Like, we would call the cops literally every day.
Fights,
not even fights, just people stealing and prostitutes like owing money to somebody, and then they come in that CVS for some mad reason.
Oh my god.
But it was just that. But like when I made the decision to go to college, I knew I wasn't gonna mess around. So I really never had a problem with that because of the money that was spent too, my parents' money.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to play around with that, you know? Because financial aid I got, but very little.
That was mature of you.
Yeah.
To
very
understand
little
the situation.
Oh, and yeah, my mom was not gonna have that either.
My mom don't play either.
My mom don't play either, man.
Hey, you know, Lou, I wanted to just circle back real quick about we're talking about the coaching the kids, right?
Yeah.
So in one of the areas I do I work on streaming production for a church. So a lot of the work that we do there, a lot of the young kids, like teenagers, volunteer and they help with the team, and I have meetings with them and whatnot. So then
He's already smirking. Look at him.
well, like a couple months ago, they drew it's like a Photoshop cartoon of me, right?
No way.
Like a caricature and like a huge forehead and gaps in the teeth and everything, right? And it was like a baby, right? And it was like, this is Jason when he was little. Like, bro, it was funny.
You.
It was funny to me. Like, it was funny to me, but it was disrespectful towards like a mentor or a leader for like an adult for that.
Right.
But to me, it was funny. You know? So what I did about it was like, it took pictures of it. I sent it to my friends and whatnot, but I didn't. So what I did is I didn't acknowledge it because they put it on the computer. Yeah. But then the day they put it, none of them, because usually they come sit next to me to learn and whatever.
None of them did.
They didn't come. They stayed where they were at. So I was like, okay, they're trying me. I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't even look at it.
Radio silence, nothing.
Nothing. Like I treated them the same. I didn't rah-rah on them or nothing. I just treated them the same. Like I didn't even see it, you know? They erased it. And it was like nothing happened. That's it. So if they would have done it about somebody else, I would have brought them and talked to them about it. But since they did it, and I was like, I think that they were trying to test my emotions. And I think kids do that a lot. They try to see if you're secure in your feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
It's like, look, bro, I'm secure. That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna
get me there.
You little piece of, you know what I mean? You're not gonna. I'm the boss here.
Yeah.
And it's like a dog, like bringing it, but like a dog, you know, bro. If a dog is
who's the alpha,
bro? When a little dog comes around, the big dog won't even move because you're not even a threat. It's like we're in such different
level,
like that. And I've noticed that and to bring it, like hand it back to you, but I've noticed that like in the jiu-jitsu or whenever I've met anyone that's a professional at what they do and I'm not, it's like they don't even, like they look through you and they're very nice, but they're like just looking through you. It's humbling.
Yes. But
at the same time, it's like, so that's what I like to bring to the kids. It's like, I'm looking through you, bro. You're a child.
Yeah.
I'm not even, they erased it. And I was like, huh. Okay.
So that right there are great qualities of a good coach, right? Or a mentor in your case. A lot of coaches, they let their emotions dictate whether a kid starts or is benched. Who are you to say, I went through it myself.
I know.
Who are you to say because of me as a person or you dislike me that I'm not good enough performance-wise to play on the field? So because you dislike me or my mom or my dad, you're going to dictate my future? And people let their emotions, like Jason just said. So let's say a kid pushes coach's buttons. The coach falls for it, gets emotional, gets pissed. Now the kid won't play the rest of the season, or he or she will play like a small percentage of what they should have played. And there's a lot of bad coaches out there that let their emotions run them, and they need their egos inflamed.
But I feel the school hiring should be more aware of those things.
Bro, you get what you paid for, bro. The pay is caca. So if the pay is caca, the service is caca.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You get what you pay for. If teachers, I've said this and I'm going to keep saying it. If teachers and coaches and counselors got paid more, there are people out there that are in different career paths because it pays more, because Miami is super expensive. So the wrong people are getting into these roles.
No way.
And they put, this is when Jason was a kid. And
they cooked you.
I sent
cooked them bad.
I sent it to my friends. I was like, look at what these kids are doing. They had to delete it because I didn't, like I said, I didn't, nothing.
React.
Nothing. I left it. and I left it right where they put it. I left it there, and then when I saw, hey, how are you? Hey, you have the video for tomorrow, right? Hey, good. How's your mom's? Like, yeah. Bro, I saw it in their face.
They
Like,
were confused, I bet.
not gonna happen.
And that's good that you like didn't laugh.
No,
then
I can't. Yeah. No.
Because then they would have been like, okay,
No, it's not cool. But since they did it to me, I knew what they were doing. If they would have done it about anyone else, I would have called them like, guys, you can't do that. If it was an adult, if it was a kid, I'd probably just delete it and leave it amongst them. But because they did it, look, it was disrespectful because I'm an adult, bro. You know what I mean? It's just funny.
I feel like it didn't hurt you because that's how we grew up, you know? We weren't sensitive growing up. We would cook it. Like
a
that's
different
love.
person would have handled that very
well,
differently.
I see I'm a secure guy. You know what I mean? And I grew up in a rough crowd. You know what I mean? So you had to handle it. You have to be able to handle the stuff like that. But then literally when I saw it, I was like, oh,
it's exactly your sense of humor, yeah.
But it's like, it just fell right in there when you were talking about coaches, because you've told me about how like you've questioned something and the coach can't say, oh, that's a good point. Or they can't recognize in front of others. Oh, you know what? That is a better way. Or
they shut you down, or they say you're wrong.
It's like, and it's because they have their their personality. And this happens to anyone.
That's true.
Like if your personality is so attached to the thing you do, somebody questions that, they're questioning you as a person.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So much need for you to be more than there's a lot of people that become this cardboard thing, you know, where you're more than a coach, bro. You know what I mean? Like for them, I'm the stream guy. I'm like, when I go home, like, I'm the stream guy walking here. But a lot of people bro, it's sad. A lot of people live lives like that where they're one-dimensional. It's like,
yeah, when you go home.
Going back to what you said, you don't know when someone's going through unless they tell you, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these coaches don't understand. Like, I didn't have a father. You know this. You're my family, but I didn't have a father figure. So there are a lot of kids that have single moms or single dads or neither. And these coaches don't understand. Like, yo, you're pivotal. You are influential.
You are like the mother, father.
We are human beings. We see something, we reenact it. We either do it or we do the opposite of it because we don't like it. So a coach has a huge role in how a kid is going to develop, and they don't care about that. They just care about, oh, I need to get my ego stroked and I need to make you feel small so I can feel big. It's a teenager and you're a grown ass.
So let me ask you a question. Right now, you open sicko facility, right? Someone comes as a coach to work for you. What do you look for them to be able to say you're hired?
So you take my question like that. I was gonna ask you a similar question. No, you're good. No, okay. So
that's a good question.
I'll answer yours first. You don't have to have experience with kids. I prefer it because that is a different skill versus
kids
adults.
Are rough. Yeah,
kids are different because, like you said, there are different personalities. Like you just said, like some people, like your client, you were mean to her. Not mean. You were assertive.
Yeah,
and she's like, oh my God, no. You know, like, but there are some athletes that they need that. And they're like, all right, nah, he ain't going to talk to me like that. I'm going to work out super hard. I'm going to do everything perfect.
Oh, she got upset. And then I had to sit her down and be like, look, I'm sorry, but I care. You know, I want you to get your goal.
So to answer your question, somebody that has emotional maturity.
Okay.
And is clinical and surgical to their approach to manipulating athletes in a positive way to get them to perform at the optimum level. Which sounds super easy and simple, but
that's not. Very difficult.
Recognize the personality, understand what buttons to push to get them, to influence them to elevate, not to put them down. And a lot of coaches out there, a lot of F-boys, put people down on purpose. They put kids down. And these kids don't know that person sucks. But because they're an adult and you're a kid, you're like, oh, that person knows best.
That's right, yeah.
And they don't know that. The kids don't know that. They're listening to the wrong person. Like Jason was saying, you have to surround yourself with the right people. Like you talking to your coach lifts you up.
Yeah.
That's a good coach. You know, he makes you believe in yourself more than you believe in, like, you know, like elevates you. And that's a skill. And it's very hard to do.
And Sam knows when to come at me and
place
and keep me straightforward. If he sees me slacking, pick it up, you know?
And understanding some days, we're all human beings, bro. So like
we're off. It's normal.
Like, let's say Sam,
we don't wake up every day the same.
Sam sees you a certain way. He sees you very often.
He knows.
He sees something's off. He knows whether to press you or be like, "Hey, Samir, come over here."
He's called me to his office.
What's going on?
We've had an hour and a half, and it's just been, how do you feel?
That is a skill.
Yeah.
Being able to see somebody's body language and you take your own life out of the equation, you're like, he needs help for something.
Yeah.
Hey, how do you feel?
Something's off with him.
He tells me,
or
are
her.
you happy with how everything's going? What do you think we need to work on? Like and I'm like, what do you mean? What do you think? You're great. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And there's a lot of kids that they've told me stories. I'm like, you're living like this right now? Like this is, but if they don't have that comfort with you to trust you, you will never know that. Okay, for example, a kid acts out in a training session. A lot of coaches are like, oh, this kid's a piece of he's super immature. I look at it, I'm like, hey, come over here for a second. Or after the session, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Sit down, calm your ass down. What's going on? And then they tell me a story. I'm like, oh my God, it was worse than what I thought. And kids act out just like adults do, but kids don't know how to channel that. Adults know how to positively channel negative energy to be productive. Kids are still developing and they don't know how to handle their emotions.
If us as adults, we learn about ourselves, imagine kids that are starting to learn about ourselves.
And some of these kids don't have those mentors like we just spoke about. So when I see a kid act out, I'm like, what's going on, man? And that's a skill because a lot of coaches don't care, bro.
They don't.
Unfortunately, they don't care.
They just care about the money.
So to answer your question, someone that's emotionally mature and understands when to push what buttons, you know? So my question to you was...
he's throwing it back at me.
So my question, boomerang. All right, so you've had 3 coaches, right?
Yes.
And how many, if you remember, how many competitions did you do until you won?
I would
ballpark.
I would say 7, and I won. My first win was with Coach Raul, which was on last year, and this year with Sam, it was I won my first place and the overall, which is the entire show.
So those are 2 judgment calls right there.
Yes.
3 coaches, 7 competitions, X amount of years. How do you know when to do what? Like, how do you know it's time to go from this guy to this guy? And then you just won and you go to the next guy.
Yeah.
Like, explain your...
It was just me seeing how many people Sam's worked with, how many pros he has under his belt. The good thing, people would talk to me about him, saying that he cares about his athletes. And Coach Raul, man, with me, he was amazing. Till this day, me and him have a friendship. And one of the main reasons why I admire him so much is because when I told him, hey, I'm going to go with Sam because I just feel like it's the right decision for me to make to step up my game. I know it was obviously, it hurts. But he still told me, no matter what you do in life, I'll support you. And whenever you want to come back, if you ever do, I'll be here for you. And I felt like that was a real coach that didn't care about the money, that he cared me as a person. And me till this day, me and him have a relationship. We eat sushi together. I go see, right now I'm planning for him and his wife for us to go out and eat sushi there because she competes too. She's a pro. She just competed. Nice. Yeah, she's amazing. You know who Kai Green is?
Of course.
Man, she worked out with him and everything.
Whoa,
like,
Kai
real
Green,
big.
he's a legend.
Shout out to Elena.
Nice.
And
good for them.
I remember I had a amount of respect for him, but I knew that Sam was the right way to go. And
so it was just like a gut.
It was a gut feeling, and it's just his resume speaks for himself. And Sam didn't say yes to everybody. He doesn't say. And with me, he told me yes. I have had my eyes on you for a while, but before we start, I want you to come in because there's some things you need to know to be able to start with me. And the way he just spoke to me about leave your ego out the door, things like that. When we come here where you're going to work, I need you to put in the work. If you slack on a diet just one time, you're out. There's no slacking off here. I need you to be 100%.
We're here to get first. And that's it.
I'm here to make you better, not to get first. Sam never says he gets first because he can't control that at the end of the day.
That's true.
Even when we were competing, he would tell me, there might be somebody better than you. That's normal. That's life. But you will be the best version of yourself. You could bet on that. But I don't control the competition, But I'm going to make you be the best. And it's just something like, I remember the progress I was seeing with him. I knew that I was going to I was confident. I even posted in one of my posts that I was 100% sure knowing that I was going to be the best me. And that's what happened, man. That competition ran so smooth and he was by my side. And I remember I was pumping up and he was telling me, calm down, because I got nervous. You get in your head.
That's normal. You get the jitters.
You're in the line waiting and you're more nervous. Once the lights hit me, I forget about life. Like, I forget about everything. I'm in the zone.
You know what I think of when I think of bodybuilders performing? I think of track athletes. So let's say you go to the Olympics, right? I'll let you know how it ties together.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking about that right now.
Track and field people, for the sprints, bro, they train 4 years. Let's say the 100 meters. For less than 10 seconds of performance.
Yes, that's what people don't understand.
If you scratch, you're effed.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
You just trained 4 years for nothing. So I feel like bodybuilders, bro,
You're
train,
there for 2 minutes.
Wow.
bro.
For 20 weeks. For just 2-3 minutes.
Bodybuilders go crazy on the body, like in a good way. You know, like you do so much to get to this moment, and everything falls down to those 2 minutes.
Yeah, if you fall under pressure and you just don't do good, it's like, man, I gotta wait
And
again.
I find that fascinating, bro, because like you said, you gotta, the same way you can psych yourself out, you can get yourself in a good mental space to perform and win.
Everyone thinks bodybuilding is a solo sport, but it really isn't if you think about it.
It takes a village, bro. That saying is real.
But that's the one thing I knew, man. And I have had so many supportive people. And one thing, Raul, he was just like, if that's the best thing you feel like you need to do, go do it.
He's real, bro. I like
He told me, I was in your shoes. I was an athlete too. I know how it is. So I totally understand that. Your door is always open here. He never shut me off. And I thought, honestly, it was going to affect our relationship. Nah, man, it made it even stronger in a way.
One question for you. All right. What is, you share whatever you want to share. Well, which you will. What is the look of a bodybuilder like you that wins competitions of your team? Like, how does it look? How does it look with the people that you need? Like, in order, once again, you said that it's not a given that someone's going to win, but at your level of professionalism, how does the people that you need around you, how does that look?
Like the team?
Yeah, like the nutritionist, the trainer, how does that look for someone? Because like a kid might be looking at this, or someone that wants to get into it.
With me, Sam, he does everything. He does the diet, he helped me pose, and he did the training too. I would train with Sam.
Okay.
So he did everything.
Is that common? Is that usually how it is? Or some people do different roles?
Yes and no. Some people have, because remember, and even though this year, Sam has a lot of athletes too, so he feels pressured, man. I've seen coach, like the day of my competition, I've never seen that in my entire life. He does not sleep. He FaceTimes you and he calls you every hour.
Wow.
How do you feel? Let me see pictures, videos, eat this meal. Like, I didn't have a set diet for those 3 days.
Wow.
He would look at me and be like, okay, go and eat this and this and this. It was that calculated.
Wow.
And I remember every time usually competition Saturday, Sunday, he doesn't work because that man gets no sleep. It was his wife's birthday, true story. And he was at the show with his wife, supporting all his athletes because I wasn't the only athlete.
He's a great coach, man.
Yeah. We had 2 athletes too, that they're girls, Vanessa, and she got first too. And he was there with them. He doesn't sleep. And then the next week he has more people like that. And he keeps everyone so in line. But
it's exhausting.
Yeah. So it's normal for some athletes to have their posing coach that just helps them pose. They don't do anything. And then they have maybe their strength and conditioning coach, which is there for workouts, and then maybe their own coach.
Okay.
But Sam does everything, which I like because he's there. It created more of a bond. Because remember, me and Sam weren't close to this year. I didn't know him.
You were strangers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I felt so comfortable for him because of the way he cares. Because even the day after I won, he called me and we talked literally for 2 hours on the phone. And he was like, how do you feel? Did you like everything? What needs to be done to get better? You know, like he wanted me to give him constructive criticism, which I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
that creates greatness though.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's that rapport to the point I'm comfortable. Like, and I even told him, coach, we're going to compete in nationals. Yes. But if you want me to do a show before, whichever one,
you're all for it.
like I trust him. If he tells me do this. Okay.
You know, something that's super interesting about what you're saying, man, like I've been working out since I was 16. So I've never done it professionally, but I know my way around the gym.
Yeah.
And I know my way around my like growing. I know what you got to do to grow. And being like your mind plays such a huge role in your size. And it's so amazing the fact that you have a coach that like
he's been there.
What like by why he said he makes winners.
But he's competed as well. He was
understands that.
They made a new division called Classic Physique, and Coach was the first pro to turn Classic Physique.
Because it's
he's made history himself, you know.
Amazing.
So he knows the process. He's been through diets.
Yeah.
But the mind, like how he works with the mind, it's so amazing. Because like I've talked to and I've heard other bodybuilders talk before, but like the fact that he's so worried about what's going on mentally, it's not just do the workout.
Physically do this, yeah.
Because it's just
he's there with you.
Everything, and at that level, the level you guys are in, everything gives you an edge.
And even through the F-ups, he's understanding. For example, like when I was dieting, like I don't even consider it cheating, but I ate a little bit more almond butter than I should have, you know? I know. Right? But imagine, I felt so guilty because I ate like half a jar of almond butter. And then I told him, and I thought I was going to get like, he was just like, it's okay, Papa. You know, just don't do it again. And I was
man.
okay. You know, he's like, just forget about it.
You were like, I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm out of there.
My life. I started questioning my existence just because I ate almond butter.
So going back to bodybuilding, right? So how did playing sports influence bodybuilding? You know, like
just the discipline, just the being there. For
habits.
example, when me and you would finish, how long was practice? Like 3 hours, right? We wouldn't eat. We would just go straight to the gym.
Yeah.
And then we would get home at 7, 8. Yeah. And just that discipline of being there every day. Because me and you would be there Monday through Friday. We would be there Saturday and Sunday if the gym wasn't locked. Mm-hmm. That was the only access to a gym I had at that time.
So Samir and I used to have like this ritual that to this day affects both of us in a positive way, which was no matter how practice went for me and for Samir as well, whether it was a great practice or a bad one, we would put in work at the gym by ourselves, no supervision, because we knew that. And sometimes we would even sprint extra. So even if we had conditioning, we would sprint more ourselves and then go hit the gym.
I would just follow you.
You know what I'm saying?
I would just try to follow you.
You know, and putting in that extra work, like how Jason was saying, like once the level rises, what sets everybody apart is such a small margin. And what Samir and I would do day in and day out, that's what set us apart from other people. So if you're someone that you're not sure what to do because you feel like you're kind of stagnant in your performance, put in the extra work. Simple as that. You know? It's like I don't know if you guys have read the David Goggins book.
Oh.
When he talks about when you think you're giving your all, you're only at 30%.
That guy's amazing.
Man.
Yeah. That guy's a mental warrior.
That
guy's crazy.
Yep.
Then every time I get tired, I'm like, I'm at 30%.
That's a great thing. You know, earlier when you said I wanted to add something, 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I had when you were talking about it was so good that I didn't want to interject in that section, but it was like towards like the first 10 minutes or so. You were saying how there's days that you don't want to work out.
Yeah, that's normal.
And those are the days a lot of times that you get most of progress. Yes. And you know what came to my mind? Like the days you're feeling good, you're having fun.
Yeah.
The days you feel bad, you're working out.
Yeah. Oh man.
Because you only work out when you feel bad.
I'm gonna use that.
I was like, but I just got it here. That's not something that I was thinking of before. As you were talking, that came to my head because you're working out.
Yeah.
You're not having fun today.
Nope. And it's like Lou says, you're already there. You get the body going. And you're like, man, you know what? F it. I'm going to just go at it. Why not?
So I just didn't want to add it at the moment because
it's hard to find a spot to jump in, right?
Because I didn't want to break the flow. I know because by doing so many of these, I knew eventually sometime in the conversation it was going to happen. I didn't want to break the flow at the beginning. So, but that was a big one right there.
I like that quote. I'm gonna start using it.
Right. Yeah. So if you can travel in time and talk to your younger self, well, what are a couple pieces of advice you might give yourself? To stop ego lifting because that led me to get injured. To not think so much. Because usually the times you overthink the most, haven't you ever had a problem or you thought it was a problem and then when it happened, it wasn't really anything as big as you thought it was? Okay, dozens of times.
Yeah, that's me. To not think about it. To pursue bodybuilding earlier. Okay. Instead of like in high school just playing sports, I would have loved to learn more about working out. Because I see these teens. Like yesterday, I worked out with a teen that he competed in his first show with Coach.
Wow.
And I was like, man, I would have loved that experience as I was young. It would have been cool being in high school, being like, hey, I'm going to compete in my first bodybuilding show. Yeah. Of course, I wasn't going to do like great because it was my first show, but still I would have.
You're starting so early.
And one thing I would have done was do what you did. I wish I would have lived that university feeling, like leave Miami, because I feel like that's a lot of growth too.
I grew a lot. I'm not going to lie. I grew a lot.
Yeah, because you're by yourself, man.
There's no choice.
And I wish I would have done that more. But for sure, stop ego lifting. I would have wanted to get a higher grade, like GPA in my school. I was that type of kid that I was like, okay, yeah, I could study for this, but if I get a C, I'll be good. No, man, get a freaking A.
Yeah.
Why am I being selective of what I want to be good at? No, be good at everything if you can.
I know it's a rhetorical question, but I think it's because of lack of interest.
Yes, but we don't do things 100% everything in life that is interested. Like, for example, who likes to wake up at 4 a.m, 6 a.m, and make the bed? Nobody does. Make it, man. Yeah. Or like the dishes are done. Who likes doing that? But you got to do it. It's life.
You're right. You're right.
I don't know who said this, but somebody definitely did say it. I don't know if it was like on an army speech. I don't know, man, but I heard it somewhere that the action will always come before the feeling. So like,
just do it.
Yeah, you have to do whatever you will never feel before the action, because a feeling is a reward.
Yep.
So when you feel good, you're being rewarded for something. So we want in our mind, we want the feeling to come before.
No, it's not gonna happen.
You gotta do the thing, and then the feeling comes.
And another thing, like for example, I wake up every day at 4:30 in the morning to work, right? And then one thing that I learned is what I do is when I'm tired, I just go 1, 2, 3, boom, do it. So when I don't want to do something, it's just 1, 2, 3, go. Don't even think about it. Just do it.
Genius. Yeah.
Yeah. Just 1, 2, 3.
That.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the best.
So like I mentioned earlier, our demographic is like high school kids or current college students, student athletes. Do you have any advice for high school or college kids, athletes or not? Anything you might want to add as we cap this?
To believe in themselves, to not be scared, to tell their parents what they really love, to not fall into that stagnant of, your dad was great in baseball, go play baseball. No. Like, do what you really, truly believe in. Even if it's the dumbest thing of life, if you truly believe it, enjoy it, be honest and be open about it. Don't be scared to be who you are, you know? I feel like, and I've seen this too, like this client of mine, he was really depressed. He was getting bullied because he was really like overweight and he didn't believe himself. And one thing he always wanted to do was be in the Marines, but he felt like he couldn't, to the point that he wanted to kill himself. He was depressed.
Wow.
And he lost weight. He started gaining confidence. And now he's doing like a little recruit thing to be in the Marines. And he's going to go do it, you know? And everybody was telling him, we don't want you to do it. But he really wanted, like that kid really loved being there. He wanted to do it. And I told him, that's something I could never do because I feel like being away from family and doing all that would make me physically sick. But if you truly love it and you find your passion, why not do it? Oh, but my mom says, do it. He's doing it, and that kid's happy right now.
Thriving.
No, to the point that he looks happy, he looks skinny, he's talking to girls. You know what that does
for your confidence? Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's insane, and I see it. He's glowing now. It's crazy, but he had a dark cloud over him.
Yeah.
So one thing I wish that every kid knew is just believe in yourself, do what you truly love, be you, no matter if you're gay, be gay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, be who you truly are. That doesn't take anything away from you. At the end of the day, you're a person, but it's better to be a happy person than a miserable person.
Wow.
You know?
Amazing,
100%.
bro. Amazing. All right, guys. So that settles it.
How long have we been talking?
Hour 25.
No way.
Hour 25?
That's being recorded because we did like 30 minutes before that.
Yeah, we literally.
It's been like 12 minutes for like 2 hours.
That was crazy. It didn't feel like you were right.
Yeah, you blink and it's gone. Well, guys, definitely subscribe, like, and share, man. Share, like, we don't have any advertising. We don't do anything. It's genuinely for your well-being. So if you found it useful, share it. Share it to someone that you think would like Samir's words and what we have to offer. Okay, guys? Subscribe, like, and share. 31 Vision Podcast. All right? Deuces.